With the last harvest from the garden being this beautiful broccoli, I thought I'd make a little Instapot soup and share the steps with you. I really enjoy throwing something together with whatever I can find on hand in the kitchen, especially when I harvest something fresh from the garden. First we'll gather the ingredients: about 2 heads of broccoli, 5 large potatoes, 1 medium to large size onion, 1 teaspoon of diced garlic, some nutritional yeast to be used for garnish, 1.5 tablespoons of curry powder, 1 teaspoon of ground pepper, and a teaspoon of salt, 1 block of vegetable stock, 8 cups of water, 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, a nice sized butternut squash, and 1 cup of boiling water to pour in the stock. I just give this a little stir to get the stock dissolved. Now to chop up all the vegetables to have them ready for the soup. We've got the onions, the butternut squash, the potatoes, and the broccoli. I'm making this in the Instapot, so I'm going to put the coconut oil in the Instapot bowl. Then I'm going to show you which buttons I press to get this started. I'm going to press the sauté button down here. Now you can see the coconut oil sizzling, and I'm going to place in the onions. After giving it a little stir, I'm going to add the salt and the pepper. Give it a stir again. Then I'm going to add the garlic. And the curry powder. Once this is all blended well, I'm going to pour in the stock. At this point, I scrape the base with a soft spatula just to get anything off that might have stuck when it was being sautéed. Now to push the cancel button and stop the sautéing process while we put all the vegetables into the soup. Here comes the broccoli, then the butternut squash, and in here, if I turn this around, you can see there's a measure. So it tells you the maximum height for the contents. Now I'm going to add the potatoes. We're still within range. Just pat them down a bit. They will soften anyways. And now for the water. And I'm just making sure the water just comes up to that maximum line. There we go. That worked out well. The nutritional yeast will be saved for later. Now I'm just wiping the bowl in case anything gets in the way of the seal. Checking that the seal is securely in the lid before placing it on. And there's a button on the top of the lid that I usually take off to clean. I'm going to make sure that that is back on before I start this. When placing the lid on, it makes a little sound to let you know that it's actually on properly, and then you can turn it to seal it. Now I'm pressing the pressure cook button, and it will show me on the screen how many minutes. You can select more or less. I'm going to select 8. Once I've set the amount of time, it just starts. I don't need to press another button. While this is most likely not recommended by the manufacturer of the Instapots, I place a tea towel over the top just to stop the steam from spitting everywhere, and I keep an eye on it. And you can see the numbers going down once it reaches temperature 7, 6, and it goes down to 0. This keep warm button comes on and it will keep it warm until you open it. Before opening the lid, I have to release the pressure by pushing this button. Then I throw a towel over the top to capture some of that steam as it spits out. While letting that cool, I sprinkle a little garlic butter and some parmesan on some naan bread to toast. This will be a nice complement to the soup. Okay, let's get this open and check that everything has cooked nicely and is ready to blend. Just giving it a stir now. And let's grab a knife and see if these are soft. And they are beautifully soft. There we go. I'll just pop this in the blender with a good balance of contents and liquids in order for it to blend nicely. It is pureeing into a beautiful, smooth broccoli soup. Now's a good time to taste the soup and see if you want to add anything to it at this point. It tasted just fine to me, so I didn't add anything else. Once I'd pureed all the soup and washed the Instapot bowl, I poured everything back in so that I could keep it warm in here. Time for a stir and another taste before I put the lid on and let it stay warm until supper time. I just push the keep warm button. You can select normal, more, or less. To fancy up dinner a little, I have the nutritional yeast for a cheesy flavour and some dehydrated cauliflower leaves. The toasted naan bread turned out lovely. These will be a tasty treat to complement the soup. Time to serve up supper, partially fresh from the garden. I'm going to sprinkle a little nutritional yeast and break a little bit of cauliflower leaf just in the centre. This will add a little bit of crunch to the soup. And it's actually a little bit sweet too. I hope you'll get a chance to try this out and that you've really enjoyed this video. Hopefully you'll be inspired to try this recipe and possibly invent something of your own with the Instapot. You can find more of my cooking videos on the Sustainable Living with Janine Liza playlist on the Art with Janine Liza YouTube channel. And if you've really enjoyed this video and you'd like to see my channel grow, please feel free to click subscribe. Thank you so much.